Graduands, guests and colleagues, my name is Susie Braithwaite and I'm delighted to welcome you to graduation. I have a few announcements to make before we begin so that you can relax and enjoy the ceremony. Graduands, an easy job to start with. Please check that your seat number matches the number on your ticket because you will be called to the stage in this order. If you discover they don't match, our team of stewards can help you locate the correct seat. At the appropriate time, you will be invited by our stewards to stand and to make your way to the foot of the stairs, ready to head up the stairs and across the stage. All very straightforward, but there are two things that make for a seamless ceremony. Firstly, as soon as the person ahead of you begins to cross the stage, please make sure that you make your way to the top of the stairs. Please don't wait till they've passed the stage before you reach the top of the stairs. Secondly, don't let excitement and pride overwhelm you so much that you forget to pick up your degree parchment after you've crossed the stage. If you do, don't worry, you will have graduated. But please don't try to go back because you will collide with someone coming the other way. Instead, please visit the graduate information desk in the exhibition centre where you collected your gown and tickets 30 minutes after the ceremony, where you can collect your parchment. At the end of the ceremony, graduates are asked to process out of the hall as directed by our stewards. Family and friends, the stewards will show you to the exits once the graduates have left the hall. If the fire alarm should sound at any point, please remain in your seats. Instructions will be given and we will escort you to the nearest exit. As graduates, we welcome you to our international community of over 119,000 York alumni. The Alumni Association organises many events, networks and services designed to help you make connections with other alumni across the world and to boost your career prospects. Please visit the Alumni Association stand and photo booth in the Exhibition Centre, where you can pick up your graduation gift and we'll welcome you to the Alumni Association. In November, you will receive an email about a national survey, the destinations of leavers from higher education. The survey focuses on a specific day in January. So when you know what you'll be doing on that date, whether it's work or further study, please let us know. The results of the survey help us to provide the right support for current students and to make sure we offer graduates like you appropriate information and relevant opportunities. Finally, please turn off your mobile phones and will you all now please stand.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the University of York. I declare open this congregation for the conferment of awards. Please be seated.
Chancellor, a consummate dealmaker, a serial boardroom junkie, 2 newspaper descriptions of Charles Gerasa. It is partly for his contribution to business that we honour Charles today, a 40-year career at some 27 different companies and counting. But we also recognise his contribution to culture. As chairman of Channel 4, he's currently steering what he describes as a unique institution through some of the choppiest political and commercial waters in its history. So, a leader in business, cultural figurehead, and a man with a taste for corporate drama and brinkmanship, as we shall see. Oh, and he's also a lifelong Chelsea fan. Make of that what you will. This must be a nostalgic moment for Charles. He's been in this imposing chamber before. It was an economics degree from York. His incipient flair for business to a vacation in the United States, selling ice cream from a truck. Either way, 1977 saw Charles leave York and embark upon the 3 paths that seem to have defined his career. Leisure, he became a graduate trainee at Thomas Cook. Determination, he beat 800 other applicants to the job. And showbiz. While running the Thomas Cook office in Hammersmith, he organised what he describes as the world's largest ever pyjama party at the famous Hammersmith Palais. And make of that what you will. What followed, however, was a spectacular rise. From Thomas Cook to British Airways as Director of Leisure, where he narrowly missed out on the job of Chief Executive. From British Airways to boss of Thomson Travel, where, in 2000, in his first headline-making game of corporate brinkmanship, Charles steered the venerable high street holiday brand through an intensely competitive takeover battle, eventually selling it to the Germans. The British press described the deal as a Teutonic beach towel invasion, but it earned Charles the title Supreme Sell-Off Expert, as he became an executive at TUI, Thomson's new parent company, and netted £3.5 million into the bargain, as the headlines gleefully noted at the time. No surprise then, perhaps, that in 2003, with a young family to spend time with and a house and vineyard in Tuscany to enjoy, Charles decided to give up wage slavery and adopt instead that most enviable of modern lifestyles, a portfolio career. Multiple directorships followed. At household names like Whitbread, EasyJet and Tragus, owners of Café Rouge and Strada. And there were sell-offs too. Love Film to Amazon, Parthenon Media Group to BSkyB. Charles once described his business philosophy thus: I enjoy running businesses, especially those in trouble. I turn them round and get my buzz out of watching them grow. Whether Charles actually enjoyed what was, until Channel 4, his most high-profile directorship, only he can say. But it was certainly troublesome. A ritual dance of comic proportions, wrote one newspaper, of the insanely complex sale of Richard Branson's Virgin Mobile to the American cable operator NTL in 2006. As Virgin chairman, it was Charles' job to juggle a volatile collection of interests. A Richard Branson desperate to enter the TV business, shareholders wanting a profitable return, and an American buyer looking for a bargain. To make the deal happen, Charles had the unenviable task, I understand, of persuading Branson, as majority shareholder, to take less money. I would love to have been the fly on the wall at that conversation. But Charles was and remains tight-lipped. It was, he said, an unusually complicated transaction. The deal eventually went through for just under £1 billion. So, leisure, boardroom drama, and a record of delivering shareholder value. all of which confers a certain logic on his dark horse appointment as chairman of Channel 4 in 2016. Although I prefer to think that Ofcom's decision may actually have been swayed by Charles' career as a TV presenter. It's a little-known fact, and I'm sure the tapes have probably been consigned to history, but while working for Thomas Cook in Hong Kong in the late 80s, Charles fronted a local travel programme. He was, he says, the Judith Chalmers of Hong Kong. Many speculated, however, that Charles' arrival at Channel 4 could really mean only one thing. If, or perhaps when, in these uncertain political times, the government decided to sell the broadcaster off, the supreme sell-off expert will be there to push the privatisation through. But even if that doesn't happen, Charles may still be called upon to broker a Channel 4 move out of London. Now, Charles, I understand several city mayors have already been on the phone, but while you're here, can I make a bid for York, just for old time's sake? I am from the Department of Theatre, Film and Television, after all. In the meantime, the drama surrounding Charles' corporate career has continued. A tussle over Whitehall's decision to block a black candidate for the Channel 4 board. Support for the controversial decision to snatch the Great British Bake Off from the BBC. And most recently, the appointment, long overdue in my view, of Channel 4's first ever female chief executive, Alex Mann. A realisation of Charles' commitment to extending diversity and widening representation in UK public life. Here's another quotation about Charles Garassa's philosophy as a boardroom leader. "My job," he told The Independent in 2006, "is to test the thinking and be a mentor for the chief executive." Over the past 40 years, staff at Thomas Cook, British Airways, Thomson, Virgin Mobile, Love Film, English Heritage, and numerous others have benefited from Charles' advice and business nous. And now, at Channel 4, that nous is crossing from commerce to the advancement of the culture. For those achievements past, and those I hope still to come, Chancellor, I have the honour to present to you Charles Mark Garassa for the award of Doctor of the University, honoris causa.
Chancellor, University of York, Ed, thank you. I'm delighted, honoured and somewhat surprised to be here. Ed, it was fascinating to hear you remind me of some of the many adventures I've been through. You reminded me of the Richard Branson story and the reason why I managed to, in the end, persuade Richard to accept less than the other shareholders was that my final negotiations with him was when he was stuck in a safari park on a truck that had broken down, surrounded by lions, and he had the only phone that worked. So he was very keen to get me off the phone. It helped. I'm genuinely honoured today. It is a real surprise to me. And the cherry on the cake is that I've now told my kids that they will have to address me from now on as Dr. Dad. 40 years ago, I sat in this same hall where you all are today, having spent 3 blissfully happy years at York, with little idea or insight as to what lay ahead. If you'd asked me or any of those who knew me at the time how the next 4 decades would pan out, I doubt any would have said that the route that actually has happened would have been the path that I followed, or indeed the world that now exists around us would have been the way it is. Some of you, I guess, will be sitting here today with clear ideas about the directions that you want to follow. But I guess many of you will be uncertain, unclear, concerned about what is it that lies ahead. And I was very much in that camp those 40 years ago. And it was a chance event, a phone call from an old York friend from London who'd seen an advert in the London Evening Standard for cashiers for Thomas Cook, foreign exchange cashiers, which said discounted travel offered as part of the package, which seemed to me a very attractive career option. And from that seemingly humble initial phone call, everything that Ed has just described followed. I'm always loath to give advice because the world you're now in is not the world that I entered all those years ago. But it is a world where I think there is more opportunity than there ever was before, but also, of course, more competition. There are, however, a few pointers that I think are worth sharing from my own journey and that, at least for me, have stood me in good stead. The first observation is this, is that whatever you choose to do it with passion, do it with energy, do it with commitment. There's an old adage that the harder you work, the luckier you get, and it's true. People around you will recognize commitment and they'll respond positively to it. And if you find yourself in a rut, unable to commit, unable to enthuse about what you're doing, move on. Life is literally too short. There is no dress rehearsal, and time will fly. Embrace failure. It will happen from time to time. Sometimes it will be your fault, sometimes it will be events. It's the best teacher I've ever had. Those who can embrace it become better people, better leaders. Those who can't get stuck in a world of blame and self-deceit from which it is genuinely very hard to move on. My third thought is be you, be the authentic you. In a world of virtual reality and fake news, authenticity is a source of respect and a source of strength. Who you are, what your values are, really matters. Of course, society and roles require a degree of conformity, but within that, being the real you matters, and it does shine through. The learning never stops. I've worked with both very good people and some people who I've learned things not to do from. But all along the way, I've learned. And I guess you here as social scientists, you have that sort of inquiring mind which wants to kind of understand why things work like they do. And that continual inquiry and sense of wanting to learn certainly has served me very well. And my final thought is be brave. Make those choices that test you, that force you to grow. There was a really interesting piece of research done recently amongst people towards the end of their lives, in their 80s and 90s, looking back on their time. And the one thing that came through very clearly from them was they said, you know what, looking back, I wish I'd taken more risk. I have throughout my career been given roles which I wondered at the time whether I was really qualified to do. But by taking on new and at times difficult challenges, it's opened the door to so many interesting, diverse, wonderful opportunities and led to a much richer and very fulfilling set of experiences. So my congratulations to all of you here on your achievements. I wish you every success in whatever you choose to do next. And my thanks again to the university for this honour.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ensemble E Anonyme will perform Danny Boy, arranged by Joshua Medine, followed by It Don't Mean a Thing, arranged by Deke Sharon.
It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. It don't mean a thing till you gotta sing. It makes no difference to me at all. It's everything you've got. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got swing.
Rhythm, got rhythm, got rhythm, got rhythm. Rhythm, got rhythm, got swing. It don't mean a thing. Rhythm, got rhythm, got swing. It don't mean a thing. Rhythm, got rhythm, got swing. It don't mean a thing. It makes no difference to me at all. It's everything you've got.
As we celebrate the achievements of students, we also wish to recognise the staff who have contributed to your success. York has an excellent record of teaching excellence. What students will remember long after graduation are the individual members of staff and postgraduates who teach, who have supported, challenged, and inspired them. The Vice-Chancellor's Teaching Awards recognise and reward both individuals and teams who've made an outstanding contribution to the student learning experience. All holders of these awards have demonstrated excellence in their teaching and the support they give for learning, delivered with energy, care, and commitment. A Vice-Chancellor's Teaching Award has been made to the MA online team in the Department of Social Policy and Social Work. Professor Ellen Roberts will collect the award on behalf of the team.
The Chancellor's Leadership Prizes recognise and reward the most talented, ambitious and driven students who've excelled on the final stage of the university's York Award. A Chancellor's Leadership Prize has been awarded to Vanique Osei-Antwi from the Department of Politics.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Politics. For research in the comparative party politics of climate change, Faye Farstead. For research in labour market institutions in Brazil, Matthew O'Connor. For research in urban governance and mega events, Jen Xin Yang. For the degree of Master of Public Administration with Professional Placement, Na Yung Chung. In Kyung Kim. Ginny Kim. Hyun Mi Lee. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Politics, Fatima Ahmed. Emily Atkin. Samantha Baker. Alexander Beasley. Amy Bishop. Lydia Brown. Troy Carruthers. Alexa Cuthbertson. Brodie Sister White. Nathan Davidson. Abigail Fedorovsky. Lily Freak. Russell Gardner. Daniel Goldstraw. Isabella Hall. Scott Healy. Thomas Jackson. Alexander Jones. Tom Lansdell. Charlotte Lightfoot. Hannah Lindsay. Oliver Montgomery. Elizabeth Nuttall. Toju Popo. James Ray. John Reeve. Eve Remington. Thomas Savage. Serena Tanner. Luke Tarry. Blue Jay Witten. Christopher Williams. Sophie Williams. Elizabeth Wilson. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Politics with International Relations, Louise Ackerman. Alina Alina Akote. Alice Antoine Gregor. Claire Baliou de Marissy. Joseph Ballard. Eleanor Bett. William Bibb. Valeria Bogatariva. Amelia Brathen. Catherine Kearns. Jocelyn Canavet. Samuel Carey. Robert Chaplin Dewey. Nicole Sisowska. Oliver Crowther. Megan Delaney. Luca Desagnia. Elizabeth Ekwemelo. Reem Farouk. Livia Fisher. Marie Frolisher. Huele Fu. Sean Fullerton. Saeed Issa Galani. Dana Gesselbauer. Robert Gordon. Michael Green. Sherry Gunnell. Prayer Gunivibul. Charles Harrott. Alexandra Hartley. Natalie Christova. Jessica Jackson. Tahir Kamilov. Annabella Kime. Eleanor Langford. Sashka Lavin. Wing Kayu Lung. Matteo Law. Lauren Malarick. Hannah Moores. Tess Morris. Summaya Mughal. Vonika Osayantwi. Charles Palotai. William Pemberton. Awunku Shafi Al-Wali Pangarin Abubakar. Frederick Piper. Christopher Pazinski Neofitu. Amy Rebeck. Samantha Richards. Sarah Rissanen. Daniel Robbins. Julia Rossell Jackson. Daniel Rossell Evans. Megan Russell. Aliyah Salim. Rosa Schmitz. Jack Seaton. Callum Sharp. Jonathan Sigsworth. Tess Stephen Rowlatt. John Stewart. Isaac Toman Grief. Melton van Dopseller. Ebba Verdu. Sophie Waddington. Rebecca Wells. Thomas Wilson. Hayley Woodward. Lania Yatomi. Gary Young. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in History and Politics, Thomas Lee.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Social and Political Sciences. Hassan Ali Qadri. Harriet Barton. Helen Kane. Cameron Dent. Sarah Haffar. Merenisa Hamid. Matthew Hodges. John Howe. Mohammed Ismail. Segilola Kola Daisi. Omar Koshin. David Mbai. Belle Merritt. Pemu Mungai. Charlotte Noddings. Eleanor Rivers. Lucy Robinson. Charlie Southerton. Sophia Taylor. Nish Vasco Knight. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Social and Political Sciences with Philosophy, Velizara Dimitrova. Anthony Henderson. Anahid Heron. Poppy Moore. And Catherine Scott.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates for the degree of Master of Arts in Public Policy and Management. Asta Gebrar. Matthew Uliat. Adam Burton. Jerry Dixon. Karen Feetham. Hannah Freeney. Ashley Goods. Simone Gothorpe. Victoria. Victoria Pratt. Eleanor Scarr. Emily Schofield. Steph Wilkinson. For the degree of Master of Public Administration in Comparative Applied Social and Public Policy, Evaluation and Research, Farrell Durr. Inro Lee. Nagruho Diane Raspati. Iskander Ramadani. Nina Sabnita. Anna Maria Tibosha Nino. Carsten. For the degree of Master of Public Administration in Public Policy and Management, Carsten Voigt Larsen. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Applied Social Science, Christine Allen. Ellie Ashwell. Abby Berwick. Benjamin Burton. Lydia Collier. Catherine Elvin. Alexander Glyn Percy. Rebecca John. Emily Johnson. Sayuri Masuda. Eleanor Meager. Daniel Merrison. Beth Reynolds. Tutai Fawang Nguyen. Elizabeth Wenninger. Alexandra Williams. Vivian Zhao. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Applied Social Science, Children and Young People, Claire Bevan. Lindsay Cann. Kate Gallagher. Jessica Griffin. Eve Ingleby. Odile Nicklin. Kirsty Smith. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Applied Social Science, Crime and Criminal Justice, Lauren Adamson. Amy Beach. Amy Collingwood. Bethany Collins. Giorgio Crowther Magditch. Juliana Huggard. Eleanor Jennings. Helen Kay. Jessica Rose Kemp. Jake Joseph Longhorn. Thomas Maher. Sarah Ung. Kimberly Nugent. Helen Rains. Josephina Rossetti. Benjamin Wright. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Social Policy, Faria Ahmed. Andrew Hancock. Alexander Ingham. Rishi Kotesha. Kumian Lee. Chuyi Lee. Kirsty Louise Toon. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Social Work, Carolyn Brooks. Shalina Brown. Vicky Dixon. Katie Grace. Laura Harris. Rebecca Hutchinson. Philip Johnson. Eleanor Lonsdale. Megan McCoy. Suzanne Mia. Esther Payne. Bethany Rose Pease. Catherine Priest. Wayne Priestley. Bethany Rain. Kate Rawcliffe. Kimberly Reid. Jennifer Rind. Rebecca Roberts. Claire Robson. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Sophie Wilson.
So, ladies and gentlemen, people often ask me, what's it like standing there, shaking hands with these brilliant, charismatic and charming and outstanding students? That's this year. Yes, that's right. Come across here. I have to say there is no greater honor that anybody could have than to confer degrees in a university as fine as this and on our graduating class. As I stand there, I get a mix of emotions. There's the anxiety as students come across. There's the handshake that varies from Macron to Trump in its intensity. There's those triumphs of modern multidisciplinary engineering, the high heels. But above all, a powerful sense of enthusiasm and of energy and of optimism about the world, about the future. In the course of my life, I figuratively have sat in every part of auditoriums like this, as a nervous undergraduate, as a postgraduate, as a professor, as a parent on several occasions, and I can remember everything about those ceremonies, except the speech that came at the end, whose main function is to ensure that our graduates do not go out into the world until they're properly sedated. But what a weird world. What a weird world they're going out to. Let's just reflect of the triumphs of the last century, the 20th century, and what we face now in the 21st. We can all, many of us anyway in this room, recall those anxious times after the Second World War when nation building was at the top of everybody's priority. The creation of the United Nations, the development of an international comity across Europe, across the Atlantic. Indeed, there was a celebrated occasion in 1941 when Winston Churchill went to spend Christmas with the then President of the United States, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who was, of course, wheelchair-bound. A very popular president of the US, and they had arranged to meet in Churchill's suite in the White House at 10 o'clock in the morning. Roosevelt arrived, wheeled himself into the room, and there was nobody there. Suddenly, the door opened, and out walked Churchill, stark naked, and a rosy pink colour from having just emerged from his bath. Roosevelt, feeling terribly embarrassed, reversed his wheelchair, but Churchill growled at him and said, "Stay. His Majesty's Prime Minister has nothing to hide from the President of the United States of America." And that's pretty much how it was, although I don't think that's been repeated since, and certainly not in the last year. But they all worked hard in creating a relationship that was not solely Prime Minister to President or nation to nation, but truly global in vision. How could we invest the huge resources of this planet in relieving some of the misery and suffering, particularly that which is inflicted by warfare and conflagration. And some of the triumphs of the 20th century should not be forgotten. The resurgence of interest in the environment and its protection, that which our previous generations had taken as a commodity, started to be seen as a valued good, albeit it doesn't appear in GDP or GNPs or other measures of the economic success of nations. The gradual lifting of hundreds of millions of people out of poverty. For the first time last year, the UN was able to announce that the proportion of the globe's population living in poverty had fallen below 10%. In India and in China alone, hundreds of millions of people have been brought out of grinding agricultural poverty and into new lives with employment. Do you know, we now calculate that the demand for higher education as a consequence of the growth of the middle class in both China and India is each year outstripping what we're already providing for higher education in the West. In India, the demand now is for another 30 million students to go to university, in a system which in the UK has fewer than 2 million students attending university. So there are demands to continue much of that good work of the 20th century into the 21st. The way in which we've been able to treat epidemics and diseases has seen a significant shift from the major killers of the 19th and earliest 20th century, which were communicable diseases, now to non-communicable diseases, the diseases, in fact, of modern society and the way in which we live now, as opposed to those which rush and sweep through and decimate nations. And even in the last 2 years, with the Ebola crisis and with the Zika virus, we have seen estimates of deaths rising up to 1 million, in fact, being set aside as global intervention has countered the threat. We are looking forward shortly, I think, to the time when we will have eradicated the phenomenon of children being born with hereditary HIV. None of these were possible by any single nation acting on its own. All of them are possible by a global view of the power of science and a belief in the power of science and in the belief of technology. None of these have borders. And so it's with concern that we look at a weird world today in which many of its leading nations are reverting to an insularity in place of that confidence of globalization that swept before it the improvement in the living qualities of the rest of the world. We're looking towards the reinstatement of protectionism in global trade, the erection of barriers, not only to trade, but the erection of barriers to the relationship between mankind. And with, on both sides of the Atlantic, an enfeebled political leadership that resorts more to arrogance and insults than it does to distinguished intellectual foresight and vision. So should we worry about that? Yes, you're damn right we should. But what is it that is our best hope for countering those trends in the future? Well, it's here. It's absolutely here. Where is the Elon Musk? Where is the Steve Jobs of the future? They're here. These are those who will, for the future, take that global vision and encourage our nations and our leaders to step beyond their awkward, backward-looking comfort zones and to take on some of the challenges of the world. Some people say, well, we shouldn't try to counter global climate change, one, because we're not convinced by the science, and two, because actually it's bad for the economy. Wrong and wrong. On the economy, the US over the past 4 years has spent $243 billion countering the effects of extreme weather conditions in the United States. How much of that could have gone into adaptation for global climate change? How much of that could have gone into research? How much of that could have gone into what we all know is going to be essential, which is to use new technologies to reverse the impacts of what's been taking place in the past? Renewable energies are a major source of future investment, of making businesses, of making fortunes, of creating jobs, and we've already seen a significant move in the past few years to the adoption of electric vehicles, with Volvo's announcement 2 weeks ago, which I think starts to indicate the end of the internal combustion engine and the move to much cleaner technologies. Many of our... Thank you, Volvo. And from there, it's not too big a step to autonomous vehicles. It's not too big a step to vehicles that are no longer owned by individuals, but vehicles that are collectively owned and collectively used, and Uber-type economies permeating our models of transport. So as these graduates today step forward, do you know you have got one huge advantage over Bill Gates of Microsoft and over Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook? What is it? You've got a degree. They have not. And you've got a degree from the University of York. So let's figure out how we're going to do that. Where are the jobs going to come from? Do you know, it's not a matter simply of technical nerds fashioning new employment like Silicon Valley. There are jobs for everybody in this new vibrant economy. I understand even that there will be very significant opportunities for jobs in the White House from those who have been trained in the Russian language. You never know. You never know where the next opportunity is going to come from. So everybody here today, and particularly of those of you who are involved in politics and international relations, have a significant role to play in this. But technologies go through different phases. Just here we are in York. And about 200 years ago, the interest in that first industrial revolution was spreading across this country. There was, for example, let's take one example which is particularly relevant to York, which was the railway. In 1829, George Stephenson conducted that trial run of what was to be known as Stephenson's rocket. At that time, there was simply the Manchester to Liverpool railway of about 35 miles. Within about 10 years, the amount of railway in this country had grown to 338 miles, and by 1860, it was 10,433 miles. Consider that pace of change. But as always, Parliament was on the case. They reported in the late 1820s to King George IV on Messrs. George and Robert Stephenson, Robert being his son, and they said the following: "The elder gentleman is unlettered, but professes a rude mechanical attitude. His son received modest education in Newcastle upon Tyne. Their steam engine, now employed to drain the collieries, might carry passengers between London and the northern industrial district at speeds up to 30 miles an hour. This is a result of their distempered imagination, probably occasioned by the severe climate and privation experienced in the northern districts, and frequent recourse to spirits or liquors, that all too frequently results. Representatives of Her Majesty's Treasury have pointed out to us that mail coaches between London and Manchester, as long as sustained by frequent changes of horse and travelling by turnpike on Mr. McAdam's patients and services, have achieved 10 miles an hour. No possible gain in human welfare could result from any attempt to reach a higher velocity." So parliamentary leadership was vital in the promotion of the railways revolution. But let's then think about the other industrial revolutions. The second, electricity, the Edison light bulb. The third, the digital rise of the last 20 years. For those of us who have lived through it, we can now recognize a world completely different from that which we knew. And so I think the first rule for our graduate students is to master a technology which their parents can't even pronounce and always be one step ahead. But the fourth, the industrial revolution that's already started, will be every bit as transformative as those. It will be based around robotics, around nanotechnology, around quantum computing, around new biotechnologies, including whole genome sequencing. At this stage, England is the leading country in the world in whole genome sequencing and bringing it into routine diagnostics and therapeutics in our NHS. The use of data to be able to interpret these huge data sets that comes from whole genome sequencing prefaces for us an era in which medicine becomes not a block remedy for different groups of patients at different ages and of different conditions, but highly personalized around the genome of each individual and with treatment attuned accordingly, but also much earlier detection of disease and the opportunity to intervene earlier, and bringing about a continuation of that other great global trend of the last 50 years, which is continuing extension of life expectancy for every citizen in the country. It's often said that artificial intelligence will wipe out jobs. Artificial intelligence is the process by which the computer is not programmed by a human being, but learns as it goes along and programs itself and can answer questions that are put to it, can read free text as well as data, and we're already using it in medicine to provide clinical decision support to clinicians by the sheer ability to absorb vast amounts of data and wrap it around a particular person. Some estimate that the job loss in Western societies from the wide deployment of artificial intelligence will be between 7 and 47% of existing jobs. And where the earlier industrial revolutions took out relatively low-level jobs, for example, running hostelries for refueling horses on their way to Manchester, this revolution looks likely to take out many more middle-area jobs, for example, in accounting and auditing, much of which can now be wholly automated. So what's the key? What's the excitement that this brings, as opposed to the social destruction that it might wrought? And the excitement is, the more accurately you can define your job, the more likely you are to lose it. But for those who are creative, for those who are innovative, for those who are doing things that a computer could never model, then there is a global opportunity. But make no doubt about it, the fourth industrial revolution will affect all of our lives. Our challenge is to make it affect those lives positively. This is not, however, a matter purely of personal ambition and personal drive. It took the Grenfell Tower to bring back to us all over again the notion that the first responsibility of a government is to the welfare, health, and economic benefits of its population. And the Grenfell Tower will go down, I know, in our social history as a turning point in our thinking about collective responsibility. So I was particularly pleased this morning to be able to confer degrees in social work for those who are willing to put to one side an ambition which might be furiously pursued in financial markets and instead concentrate on the needs of human beings, many of whom are overlooked in our modern society. Let me quote words that were written 400 years ago by the great poet John Donne, well known, I think, to many in this hall. No man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. If a clod be washed away by the sea, Europe is the less, as well as if a promontory were, as well as if a manor of thy friends or of thine own were. Any man's death diminishes me, because I am involved in mankind, and therefore never need to know for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee. A remarkably solid reminder of the interaction of society and the sheer value of solidarity in a modern, fractious, difficult, complex, and fragmented world. So this today is the staging post. This is the time at which everybody in this room is celebrating the great achievements of our graduating class as we release them from the custody of the University of York and disperse them into the world. I'm reminded of an occasion of a graduation ceremony, not at this university, where towards the end of the ceremony, a student who had, I think, been pre-celebrating came onto the platform and started jumping up and down like a kangaroo, and almost got to the presiding officer when suddenly there was a splintering sound, and he disappeared. And the hall was in hushed silence, broken only by his mother, who said, "Oh, please just ignore him. It's just the stage he's going through." So nobody went through that stage this morning, fortunately, but this is the stage we're going through. This is the transition period at which you go into employment and into the weird world that we have bequeathed to you, and we are entrusting to you to correct and bring back to normality. In conclusion, I'd just like to offer a few words of thanks. I mean, first to everybody who's come here this morning, not just from across York, not just even from across the ancient county of Yorkshire or by newfangled railway trains, but from across the world to celebrate with us today the achievements of our graduating class, who are by far the most intelligent, creative and charismatic group who've ever passed through this hall. I have another ceremony later in the day. Second, I would very much like on your behalf to thank our student a cappella group, E-Anonomy, for that beautiful interlude earlier. To all of our staff, I mean, our staff who've organised these events, which requires meticulous planning, but I'm so delighted this morning to have been able to give an award to a teaching staff representative of her team, for the contribution that they make to the quality of education here, and to be accompanied by so many members of teaching faculty at the University of York, representing the much larger community within the university. Their success is your success, and I think we owe you all a huge debt of gratitude. Thank you so much. So, in a moment, I will conclude this congregation, but before I do, could I please ask you to stand and express again our congratulations to our graduating class, and I declare the congregation closed. Thank you.